What's up, everybody? Figured I'd do a little part two on the 68 Plymouth little walk around video I did about a month and a half ago, which got an insane amount of attention, and I appreciate it so much. I'm glad you guys enjoyed seeing the car and hearing about it. And I kind of want to do a part two to that now that it's been about a month and a half since I've owned it, and kind of talk about what the future plans are for the car, because I do plan on changing it some. Nothing crazy. I just really want to change some things and make it a little bit more muscle car-ish, if that makes any sense, but not so much that it changes what this car is. So basically what I want to do is turn this car into a period correct 70s/80s high schoolers car. You know, something that would have been done up period correct in the 70s or the 80s. High school kid, right out of high school. Something just to make a big car a little bit more fun, something that somebody would have done. Did a couple things so far, but we got some future plans for this one. So what I did first was I was able to find a really nice cherry set of 14-inch appliance steel spokes, staggered, of course, 215s in the front, 245s in the back. Found these on Marketplace, and they are really in nice shape. Got all four for a steal with those tires mounted on them. Now, granted, I'm going to change those tires because they are a little bit old. They don't really have any cracking in them or anything, and they're balanced. They ride nice. You know, no real signs of age, but I know that they're old, so those will be changed. I did end up finding a set that didn't have a fourth center cap, so I do need to find a fourth appliance center cap. If anybody has one, I would greatly appreciate it. Get in touch with me or whatever. So far, it's been a really good car. I've driven the wheels off of this thing for the most part, and I haven't really been, let's say, easy on it. I mean, I've driven it like a 4-speed big block Mopar. It gets used. You know, it gets run through the gears. You know, it'll lay some tire and whatever else. Good shot of those appliance steel spokes. I just love these wheels. Got a little bit of curbing on some of them, but not bad enough to complain about, especially what I paid for them. But yeah, it's just been a good car so far. Like I said in the other video, that's the original vinyl top to the car. It is just absolutely fantastic. There's not a bubble or a mark on it. I was really impressed by that when I went to go look at the car. And then so far, one other thing that I've done is, not sure if you can really tell by the way it's sitting right now. I did put a set of air shocks on the back and lifted the rear end up probably a good 3.5 inches. It was really riding low before, and you can check out the previous video and see where it was sitting to begin with. It was really sitting pretty low in the back, and it was really high in the front. Really had a weird stance to it. It looked good with the white walls on the hubcaps, but with the appliances, really didn't want that. Put air shocks on the back. Again, old school type stuff that would have been done in the 70s and 80s. I'm not trying to do this car to be a, you know, a professional build with an open checkbook that somebody would do in today's money with the amount of parts that we have today compared to, you know, what was available back then. I want it to be period. I want it to be the way it would have been in the 70s and 80s. Air shocks is a part of that, so some guys love them, some guys hate them, but I like them, and I think it's a period accessory for this car. You can kind of see the stance now. Doesn't show up as well on camera, but I dropped the front end 2 inches and raised the back end about 3.5 inches. It's sitting pretty nice now. Gonna do a little bit of stuff to the motor here pretty soon. Plan on going with the Hughes Whiplash cam, which I believe is a 242 520 lift. I believe should be a pretty nice sounding cam. Don't plan on changing the exhaust really. Gonna leave it the way it is. Got a set of Flowmasters on it. It's not too loud, but I mean, when you want it, it does get loud. Going to ditch the points ignition simply just for the reliability. It runs fine the way it is. I just don't feel like messing with points. I'm gonna go with a Petronix flamethrower system, distributor and all that, and ditch the points ignition. I also was able to find the Edelbrock DP4B intake, and if you don't know what that is, that was the predecessor to, I believe, the Torker intake. if I'm not mistaken. It's a dual plane intake. It's an aluminum intake. They came out in 1968. The whole thing was that Mopar and Edelbrock kind of did a collab on that, and it has Edelbrock part numbers on it, but it also has Mopar parts numbers on it, so that Chrysler could use them and the NHRA couldn't throw a fit because it had Chrysler part numbers on it. They could kind of slide it under the rug for the stock class in the NHRA. I'm really excited about that intake. Was able to find that online for a really decent price. Probably going to put a Holley 750 double pumper on it. Don't really plan on changing the rear gears, although it would greatly benefit. It's got 323s in it right now. I'm not trying to make a race car out of it. I'm just trying to make a street car out of it and keep it the way that it would have been, as close as I can to original, but to just bump it up a little bit, just make it a little bit more fun. It does run really good now, but it is a 4,000 pound car. I just think it could use just a little bit more. Nobody ever complained about having a little bit more power. Everything's been holding up good. It runs good and drives good, and I really haven't had any issues with the car. Going to stick with the inland shifter. Some guys might say, oh, well, you know, Hurst shifter was a big thing back in the... I know it was. It's just the fact that so many inland cars have been switched over to Hurst shifters that I just kind of want to keep this one. Some people love them, some people hate them. I think more people dislike them than like the inland shifter. Back in the day, they weren't too accurate, and in early 68, the inland was still the standard option for the 4-speed transmission. Late 68, they did switch over to a factory Hurst setup. So I could technically do both, but being that this is an inland car and it's an early 68 built car, I'd really like to keep that inland shifter. Interior still holding up really nice. Everything's in nice clean shape in here. Door panels, all that stuff. Cell panels, really nice shape. I only plan to just change a few things to make it a little more fun. Keep true to the period vibe that I'm going for with this car. If you're interested in staying with the build of the car and seeing what we do to it and its progress, subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, let me know any suggestions you might have. Like I said, the amount of attention that I got on the first video blew me away, really. 27,000 views currently, I think, which is insane. I've never been able to get that kind of attention on YouTube before. Well, I appreciate it, and thank you all for following along. And if you're interested in this car and you want to see a little bit more of the build that's going to be coming up here in the near future, stay tuned, because we want to have this car done for Chrysler Nationals in Carlisle. So that's the goal, is to have the car done by Chrysler Nationals in Carlisle. The car will be there. So if you're a Mopar fan and you're coming out to Nationals, make sure you stop by and say hello. Right now, that's what the deal is. It's a race to get it done before Carlisle. So once again, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow, and leave a comment. Give me suggestions, opinions, good, bad, don't matter. I like the car anyways. All right, guys, take it easy.